Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. I actually have not even had a chance to sit down and do a video for you guys. With all the stuff and all the information that came out last week, I just wanted to give you my opinion on that information. I'm sure some of you care, some of you don't care for my opinion, but I am going to give it to you anyway, because this is my channel and that is what I do. So, let's begin with the fact that Junior's mother has to now watch the remainder of the trial outside of the courtroom because of her outbursts. Now, any mother, child, family member, etc. that saw and sees that kind of trauma being done to somebody they love is going to have that reaction normally. I don't understand why they feel like that's abnormal for a mother to see their child being massacred outside and they're like having a reaction to that. Like, they're making it seem like that is a strange way to deal with what's going on. That is perfectly normal. Okay, and I think anybody's mother would have sudden outbursts. I sure as hell would. I have sudden outbursts about everything. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't be out of context. I think the DA, the prosecution, and the judge himself that shouldn't even be an issue. They should have realized this was going to happen. I mean, you know. Not only did she have to live it the night it happened, but she has to relive it every time somebody goes over it. And I'm pretty sure they're asking the same questions over and over and over again, you know, to each witness that goes up on the stand. So not only do you got to hear it once, but you got to hear it 70 times, and that can push you over the edge. According to the information, it says here that this decision was made last Thursday, that she will watch the remainder of the murder trial from a separate overflow room, whatever that is. Decision was made 2 days after she had a screaming fit in Spanish during cross-examination of the witness, Michael Sosa Reyes, and stormed out of the courtroom. She was told not to come back from the rest of the day. Okay. That's when Mary Murphy met her at the gas station a couple of blocks away from the courtroom where she was getting gas, and she was explaining why she got mad, and she was explaining, you know, it's very hard for her to sit there and hear all of this over and over again, and then with Sosa Reyes acting like he needs an interpreter when we all know damn right that he speaks English. So that's getting on her nerves. And remember, when you translate Spanish to English, sometimes things, well, majority of the time, things aren't exactly the same meaning. Like, the translator may say what it means, but she's understanding it differently than the translator is translating it, if that makes any sense. So, you know, obviously, he could be saying things that she knows damn right are full of shit, and the translator's putting it out there as if it makes sense, or, you know, something other than what he's saying. That's the bad thing about an interpreter. When you speak Spanish, you understand Spanish. There's little words that don't exactly translate correctly to English, so it doesn't sound right when it comes out being translated. So with that being said, and I got a little upset with Mary Murphy because I feel like when she asks a question like, why did you do this, or why did you do that, once his mother explains why she did it, that should be the end of the questioning. I don't understand why she has to keep on asking the same questions, and then going and asking his sister the same questions, and then maybe going and asking the father the same questions. Like, they're not all feeling the same exact way. You know, I think the questions, she's gotten enough questions over the last year. Enough with the questions. Everybody knew why she walked out of the courtroom. Everybody understood what she had an outburst. I really don't see a need for her to have to stand there and explain, but I understand that she's the media, and this is what the media does. She's been very supportive. She's been pushing this story since day one. Yeah, but you know what? She's still the media. She's doing her job. She's not doing anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's different than another reporter. She just grabbed this and ran with it since day one. And she's gotten more publicity and more likes and more watches and more followers on her page than she ever did in her life because of this case. So I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that, yes, she has been wonderfully supportive. Yes, she has been, you know, this supportive person for the family. But she's also the media, okay? She also has that as a responsibility. That's her job. You know, is she doing this out of the kindness of her heart, or is she doing this because it's getting her popular? It's getting her more attention. I don't know. You know, I don't trust the media. I don't trust any of that stuff. So it's like, to me, she's just like the rest of them, only she just happens to be the one that took this and ran with it since day one, okay? Junior's father, it says here, was present for the morning portion, but he left after the lunch break. He had no response to the cross-examination of Michael Sosa-Reyes. Okay. Here it says, first, he claimed that he was part of the Bad Boys set of the Trinitarios from 2014 until April 2018, is one of the cooperating witnesses who has a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter, but the charge would be thrown out as his case dismissed if he compiled truthfully throughout the entire trial. Okay. Now, if he wasn't a gang member, okay, if he left the gang in April, okay, what was he doing there that night looking for somebody? That makes no sense to me, that statement right there. If you're no longer in a gang, why are you hanging out with the gang and you're pursuing someone to hurt? That right there is like a contradiction to me. I don't understand that. Here it says that he gave several inconsistent responses to the defense team's questions, which doesn't surprise me. He told the defense attorney, Tony Messina, "You have to understand that everything I mistakenly said was because of everything that was going on. I was confused." Confused about what exactly? Are you confused about the fact that you were the first one to walk into that store and point him out and say, yes, that's him? And then knowing it's him because you met him previously. Okay? So, of course, they sent him in first because they wanted to make sure it was the person that they were going after. This wasn't mistaken identity. He knew who he was. He could have said, no, that's not the kid. If that's the case, he would have said, no, that's not him. Let's go. He pursued it. So as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly who they were looking for. So the bullshit story about that not being the person they were looking for and mistaken identity, the dude knew him from a previous occasion, from a party, wherever they met. He knew who he was. So he didn't say, nope, sorry, that's not him. He said, yes, that's him. Okay? Which made the rest of them go after him. So his job was done. His job was just to identify and walk out. And he did that. Okay? But it's funny how he was the first one to run for protective custody. Okay? Messina reminded him that he would not be convicted of murder one, and his case would be thrown out if he compiled as part of his plea deal. Reyes responded, I will have the family of the victim searching me out to kill me. Okay. So now, a regular family, okay, who's not in any way gang affiliated, as they say they're not affiliated with anybody, why would he be nervous about the gang seeking him out to kill him? Anyway, I'll just leave that sitting there. After leaving the courtroom on Tuesday, like I said, they met at the gas station. She spoke to his mother, explained that Kevin Alvarez has a good offer as well, as they said. I'm afraid now, the mother's afraid that Michael Sosa Reyes is trying to clean up another one of the bad boys being a Sacra Trinitarios gang, several members of which are accused of killing Junior. Junior's mom said she got upset during his testimony and under cross-examination that the guy who was riding in the car known as Philly was not a bad boy Trinitarios member the night Junior was chased and then fatally stabbed. Okay. Whatever. I don't know who Philly is. I only know them as their stupid nicknames. Okay, here it says Philly, whose real name is Daniel Pachenko, is facing charges of murder in the second degree at a later trial. He's trying to clean him too, the mother said on Tuesday about Pachenko. Which is possible. I mean, the guy is not only trying to clean his own self-image up, which is impossible, but now he's trying to get other people off the hook by claiming that they weren't gang members. This is not a question of whether you're a gang member or not. It's a question of whether you pursued a 15-year-old kid and was there during this murder and didn't do shit to help him. Okay? That's what this is about. This is not about who's in what and who's who, because as far as I'm concerned, they're all the same to me. Okay? The second outburst, they say, she started screaming and shaking in her seat during a cross-examination of the star witness, Kevin Alvarez, when defense attorney Kyle Waters showed footage of Alvarez forcing his way through the glass partition door that separated Junior from the rest of these people. He forcibly asked the witness, but you were pushing through that door. If you didn't do that, Junior would have stayed on the other side of the door. The footage later showed Junior being dragged out of the bodega. It was during this piece of surveillance when the mortally wounded Junior stood alone on the sidewalk, clenching his lethal neck wound after being turned away from the bodega a second time when his mother lost it. I would have lost it too. They're saying she began shaking, she began pounding her fists on the bench, and it looked like she was about to faint. She was escorted out, an ambulance came, but she was not taken to the hospital. Okay? Now, who in their right mind would not have reacted that way? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get why, like I said in the beginning, I don't get why they're acting like that. That's not a normal reaction. When you're hearing nothing but bullshit flying from every direction. Okay? Let me see. I had this other thing saved. I wanted to go over just to make sure that I got all of this stuff here. I just think it's funny how Alvarez is the star witness. But, like, are you kidding me right now? I don't understand that. The star witness, like he's important or something. Alright, hold on. Let me see something. Then they said that they made a cruel joke. Jonaki, who is the one who cut his neck, said that he isn't going to eat for a good long time because I hit him in the neck. The blade from this knife was 4.5 inches, allegedly sliced the teen's jugular vein from right to left. Reyes identified the stabber in court when the prosecutor showed him still images of defendant Jonaki Martinez Estrella. So I don't understand what that. See, now that joke was probably in Spanish, and then when translated into English, makes absolutely no sense. And it's not even funny. So, let's see. We know that already. Okay. Now, the one thing, remember, I've been waiting for since last year, was the medical examiner's details. Okay? Remember when I said I had to wait for this to come out because I needed to know every point of entry, meaning every place he was stabbed, every slash, every cut, every bruise, okay? Because while you're watching the video, you see him getting hit with a machete, you see him getting supposedly stabbed in his side, and then you don't see any blood until his neck is slashed. So, for the last year, I've been fighting and, basically going off about the fact that I don't think, beside getting punched and kicked, that there were any other fatal wounds, stab wounds, cuts, anything else having to do with a knife on Junior's body, okay? And the only wound there was the neck wound, which obviously is the cause of death, okay? So now this is just confirmation that I was right the entire freaking time. So what I don't understand is they're not even giving you a clear and full medical report. They didn't even do an autopsy on him because they knew how he died, but that's not the point of an autopsy. I thought when you were murdered or there was any foul play involved that an autopsy is automatically done in a case like that. And I think the fact that it wasn't is a little strange. It says here, as they rested their cases in the Junior murder trial Friday, prosecutors turned to the medical examiner to perform the teen's autopsy, which he did not do the autopsy. He just took pictures of the body and jotted down all his wounds and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know why they're saying he did an autopsy, because he didn't. It says here, the knife used to deliver the lethal blow, meaning that was the cause of death, meaning nothing else that happened to him contributed in any way, shape, or form to his death. Excuse me. The knife used to deliver the fatal blow went clear through the teen's neck, causing him to bleed to death. The medical examiner, Dr. Sofia Rodriguez, testified. There were gasps from the courtroom as the district attorney, Morgan Dolan, presented the graphic photos of Junior's wounds during the testimony of the prosecution's final witness. I've seen this picture. I posted this picture a year ago. If you didn't see it and you want to see it, let me know. I'm not going to post it just for the sheer respect of the family and the fact that people don't want to see that. It says here, she detailed a fatal path of the knife through the teen's neck, which left a gaping hole on one side and a puncture wound on the other. The knife made it from the right side to the left, hit the muscle, hit the jugular vein, went behind the throat, hit the tissue on the backside of the mouth. Dr. Rodriguez confirmed what was already revealed in the report, that Junior's case was a death from stab wound to the neck. Okay? We are not hearing anything about the stab wounds to his side or the machete slashes to his chest, because there were none. Okay, here we go. Dr. Rodriguez said it is possible if pressure was applied to this wound and Junior was brought to the hospital earlier, he could have survived, which we all know. Okay? So while everybody was recording shit and watching from the windows, he could have been being rushed to the hospital by one of them instead of them recording shit. But, that's a whole nother story. It says here, he's seen in surveillance clutching his neck, attempting to run to a nearby hospital. We know that already, and he collapsed on the sidewalk. Why? Because even when he got to the hospital, nobody did shit. Junior suffered multiple wounds to his face. Wounds. We're not talking about stab wound. We're not talking about stabbing. We're talking about wounds, meaning being hit. Wounds to his face, back, chest, legs, and hands. The medical examiner testified the wounds on his back and legs were consistent with being dragged. Where are the stab wounds that Elvin Garcia supposedly did and cut his hand while doing it? Okay? Wounds on his hands believed to be caused by a sharp object, possibly a knife, were considered to be defensive wounds where Junior put his hands up to protect his face. Possibly a knife. Did we see any other objects being used as beside him getting punched? So I don't understand what the possibly a knife means. Okay? The defense team asked Dr. Rodriguez if any of these additional wounds contributed to the teen's death. What other wounds? Why are we not getting a diagram of some kind where they label each and every wound? There's nothing here to the side of his body where those stab wounds would have been. There's nothing on his... There's no slashes to the chest. So I'm confused. So they asked her if any of these other wounds contributed to his death. She replied that the wounds they spoke of beside the neck wound were superficial, and that the only wound that caused his death was the one to his neck. Now, I'm not going to tell you people that I told you so, okay? But I told you so. If he got stabbed as many times as it looked like he got stabbed in that video, that would have definitely contributed to his death, because he would have been losing blood from more places than just his neck. And where he was being stabbed was probably somewhere near the kidneys, and, that area. He could have punctured organs, definitely would have contributed to his death. So by her saying that they were superficial, that means to me that Elvin Garcia cut himself because he was acting like he was stabbing Junior. He really wasn't stabbing Junior, because had he stabbed Junior, we would have in this report stab wounds to the chest, stomach, back area, side, what have you. Okay? Now, I'm going to read it again for those who do not understand. The wounds they spoke of were superficial, and the only wound that caused his death was the slash to the neck. Okay? It's alleged that defendant Joniki Martinez Estrella plunged the knife into Junior's neck near the end of the 20-second attack. Alleged? No, that's what he did. Martin Goldberg, defense attorney for Jose Muniz, who once cried in court during his arraignment, said the client was made the poster boy for Junior's horrific death because he was carrying the machete, and you know what? He didn't do shit with that machete, but, like, smack him on the chest with it. And Elvin Garcia acted like he was stabbing Junior, but really wasn't. And that's why he had the cut to his hand, because he was holding the knife in a way where it would not stab Junior. For whatever reason, okay, these two, okay, did not want to hurt Junior, okay? The punching, the kicking, the dragging, you could live through that. The making believe he was getting stabbed and hit with a machete. For some reason, I feel like they were doing that just so that they didn't get penalized from the head of the gang for not doing what he told them to do. Okay, now, Goldberg hammered the medical examiner to get his point across that his client did not cause any physical injury to Junior because a machete would have resulted in decapitation or mutilation. 100%. I said this a year ago. I'll say it again for those who do not understand. When you see him getting hit with the machete, that's all he's getting smacked with it. He is not being stabbed. He is not being slashed. He is not being mortally wounded by it. He is literally just being hit with it for sheer, I guess, to make him look like he did something to him so he wouldn't face repercussions later. Okay? Goldberg hammered the medical examiner, and Junior's parents were not present in the courtroom during this medical examiner's testimony. Now, why? See, now that's one thing, okay, that I think is incredibly important as a parent, okay, to know exactly how my son died and what caused it 100%. His father said that when he went to the hospital, that he was only allowed to see Junior from the neck down, that he was covered with a sheet from the neck down, and all he seen was that slash to his neck. Now, that is correct, because the pictures that I have only show the neck wound. The sheet is pulled up to the neck and doesn't show anything else. So it makes me wonder, like, why wouldn't you want to go to the courtroom when your son's medical examination is being explained? Every part of it in detail is being explained. I think that is a very important. I think that's very important information. Either way, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't, want to be in the courtroom for that. I think the way that the medical examiner worded this testimony, she was very careful about what she said. she didn't say the exact words that I would have said, being that the machete didn't cause any harm. He didn't get stabbed in the side by Elvin Garcia. The only person who physically and mortally wounded him was Jonaki Martinez Estrella. Why she couldn't make that clear, why it wasn't made clear, why the fact that the other wounds to his body were not stab wounds, that they were superficial, why, like, she worded it in a way where there's still questions, because they don't want you to know what I'm telling you. Okay? So, and I've been saying that since last year, that the truth was going to come out with the medical report, because you can't hide the medical report. But in a way, they are hiding the medical report, because we're not seeing the diagram. We're hearing superficial wounds, which to me mean like basically bruises and scrapes and shit. Okay? So why is this being hidden? Why are we getting little bits and fucking pieces of this shit? You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because in the video, it makes it look like, okay, he's being stabbed over and over again. It makes it look like he's being cut with a machete over and over again. It makes it look like he was wounded far more than he actually was. And in order to keep, okay, the jury on their side, the prosecution needs to be very careful on how they word the fact that the only fatal wound was by Jonaki Martinez Estrella. And if you're smart enough to understand that, okay, and you're not in denial because you watched the video 50 times and that makes you an expert, okay, the video is very deceiving, okay? What we saw in the video was a lot more brutal than it actually was. Am I saying these people are not pieces of shit? No. Am I saying that he deserved what he got? No. Am I saying that they're not accessories to murder? No. They are. But what I am saying is the only person who killed him was Jonaki Martinez Estrella by slicing his throat. Had he not come out of nowhere with his piece of shit illiterate ass and done that, Junior would still be with us today. And that is a fact, and I am not saying any more about that. Okay? Here is that soon these guys will be in the hands of the jury as the court's arguments are concluded, which means the end of this trial with these people. It says here, defense attorneys for the 5 men accused in the death wrapped up their summatations Tuesday, arguing their clients did not intend to kill the teen, while prosecutors in their closing argument maintained no question that the suspects intended to end his life. The judge will hand over the case to the jury on Thursday. Defense attorney Kyle Waters, who is representing Jonaki Martinez Estrella, the one with the red hat who allegedly delivered the fatal blow. Not allegedly, he did. Client only meant to harm and not kill. Yeah, okay. When you put a knife to somebody's throat, that's not trying to just harm somebody. That is literal intent on killing them. Okay? So right there, that's bullshit. Moving on. According to the medical examiners, the fatal injury was caused by a 4.5-inch knife, which I said, cutting Junior's jugular vein and slicing through his neck. It was manslaughter, okay, or assault, but it was not murder. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to disagree. That was murder at its best, right there. To be convicted of first-degree murder, the prosecution has to prove that each defendant intended to both kill and torture Junior. None of this was torture, Waters said of the 22nd attack. It was quick. Number one, I don't think they were trying to torture him. I don't think they were trying to kill him. I think that they were just acting like they were fucking with him, dragging him out of the store, hitting him a couple of times. But Joneke took that shit to the next level. And thanks to him, the poor kid is dead. Okay? So they face up to life in prison if found guilty. They're charged of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, gang assault, conspiracy, and criminal possession of a weapon. So, just a legal analysis. Christopher Carone, who is a criminal defense attorney, says Waters effectively argued that Estrella was being tested by the leaders of Trinitarios gang and that his client risked getting beaten or killed himself if he did not display toughness. I agree with that. I think that that's the only reason why Elvin Garcia may believe he was stabbing him. Teeth Boy was making believe he was hitting him with the machete, but neither one of them actually physically caused any harm. So I believe that. Now, Joneke obviously has some screws loose. He knew by cutting him on the side of the neck and with the force that he implied this wound with, he knew that it was probably going to go into his jugular vein unless he's that fucking stupid, okay? And doesn't know physical anatomy at all, okay? So, and I don't believe that either. So, I feel like his intent was murder. The rest of them, I can't tell you because they didn't murder him. Yes, they drug him out of the store. Yes, they beat him up a little bit. But they didn't kill him, okay? They didn't fatally wound him in any way, shape, or form, okay? They're making it look like he was really under duress, which is a legal defense to any crime. He said the defendants took significant steps not to harm Junior, which is the opposite of what the prosecution has been saying. I do believe that they were taking steps not to fatally harm him, okay? But once again, Joneke came out of nowhere and decided he was going to kill this kid for whatever reason. Maybe he's just fucking crazy. Period. There doesn't need to be a reason. People are nuts. As far as I'm concerned, people don't need a reason to just decide to kill somebody. You could just be in the moment and be like, fuck this, I'm gonna kill this person. End of discussion. Okay? Then, while showing photos of Junior's many knife and machete wounds, including the fatal jugular, Dovin said the 5 intended to kill the teen. Okay, now, here it's saying the many knife and machete wounds. That is not on the medical reports. So can somebody explain to me how there are photos of these many knife and machete wounds, but they are not mentioned clearly or significantly by the medical examiner Why are they not clearly and significantly mentioned as contributing to his death? But here, they're showing pictures of these knife and machete wounds. Where are these pictures? Where is this diagram? Why are they going back and forth? Why is the medical examiner saying one thing and the prosecution saying another? I don't know, guys. You figure that out, okay? She said that when a group is told to carry weapons of their choice, find a member of a rival Sunset Gang and do what you gotta do, as they were allegedly instructed by Losorio sect leader Diego Suero, that is a kill order. Do what you gotta do to me is, if he runs, chase him, and if he fights back, beat him up. That's not necessarily go murder somebody. His words were not clearly go kill this kid. Go kill everybody that you see that is in the rival sect. Okay, so that's just hearsay. Thrusting after thrust of a knife is an intent to kill. When you thrust a knife over and over again, when you hack a machete at somebody, your intention is to kill. Okay, I agree in that context. But, like I said, I'm totally confused as to why the medical examiner said that these wounds were not fatal in any way, shape, or form. When you watch the video, people, which I'm sure you all did more than once, the stabbing to the sides look so much more like violent and what's the word I'm looking for? Like it had a deep founding effect on him bleeding out. But that is not what the medical examiner is saying. So I'm confused. I just can't. I can't. I don't know why they're making this so hard to understand. Dolan also mentioned recorded prisoner phone calls between Estrella and his wife. Isn't that husband and wife privilege? Aren't they not supposed to be able to use that as evidence? Estrella and his wife, who allegedly calls him a murderer. The conversations also included the mention of Diego Suero and conspiring to conceal weapons that night of the murder, like dropping it down a sewer. The calls were played in court Friday, but were in Spanish. The jury were the only ones who received a translated copy of the transcript. Once again, a court strategy where everybody who was sitting in court, if you didn't speak Spanish, you had no fucking idea what was being said. Okay? So they obviously didn't want everybody to know what was being said. Caron, the legal analyst, praised Dolan's work. She did a really fantastic job showing there was intent to commit a crime. We know there was intent to commit a crime. That there was crime, that the crime was a murder, and they took steps to cover their tracks. Did they really? Because once they heard there was cameras, it seems to me that nobody really was afraid of covering their tracks because they were all up in the cameras. After the jury was let go for delay, the defense team expressed concerns about one of the jurors becoming emotional every time the video was played in court. They requested that the juror be questioned as to whether she could handle her emotions and deliberate fairly. Prosecutors scoffed at their request. George Robert Neary decided that defense was overreacting and denied the request. Wednesday, it is pre-scheduled day off. I guess that's tomorrow. And the case will be given to the jury on Thursday. They will begin deliberation to decide the fate for each of the 5 defendants. Okay. Now, they just keep saying that the medical examiner's report was so graphic, and honestly, there is not 1 ounce of anything here, okay, to show me this report. I can't deal with bullshit. And as far as I'm concerned right now, that's all I'm getting is bullshit. We are getting bits and pieces. We are getting what they want us to know. Not every inch of information. So, like, if they want us to have an opinion and they want us to be all up in this case like they've been doing for a year now, why feed bits and pieces to people? Why not actually stand there and show us the medical examiner's report? Show every little drop, okay, of information, every little drop of it really bothers me that we are still in a state of, okay, like, shouldn't we have this to look at? Like, they played the video 50,000 times, but we can't see the autopsy photos. We can't see the actual medical's report with the diagram. Why? Why are we still in the dark about this shit? They're saying that they show these graphic photos, and they're saying that they have this and that and that and this, but where is it? Why is it okay to show that horrible video of him being massacred over and over again? Okay? But there's nothing to show us this report. Why are they hiding this report? Can somebody explain this to me in a way that makes sense? Probably not. You know why? Because they're hiding shit. There is shit they do not want us to know, okay? And they are sticking to what we saw on the video and going by that, okay? I want to see this damn report. Where is it? From a forensic, okay, standpoint, to me, this is not helping. Because I am being, like, basically pushed around and being told little bits and fucking pieces of this story, and I'm not getting the full. I'm just getting what they want me to know, okay? They're telling you exactly what you saw in the video. Okay? Now, what about the shit that was not in the video? That's the shit I need to see. That's what I need to say. It is important for me to see this. It may not be important for you to see this, but it is important to me to see this. Because I feel like I am literally being conned and seriously just sideswiped because people are hiding facts. And we're talking about medical fact here, not the video. We've all seen the damn video. We know what happened according to the video. And the way that the defense is working this and the way the prosecution is working this, they are basically just going by the video and they are not showing us medical facts. Okay? I want to see this shit for my own self. I want to see it with my eyes. I want to know what is on that report. I want to know the exact wounds. They're saying that none of the rest of the wounds were fatal. Fine. But if you're being stabbed that savagely over and over and over again, and you're trying to tell me that none of those wounds contributed to his death, does that make sense? Does that make logical sense? To me, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. And the only way I can explain that to you is every stab wound to your body, you're losing blood from. Correct? Yes or no? So, to me, if you're losing blood in any way, shape, or form, that is going to contribute to your death because you're going to bleed out faster. Okay? Yes, the neck wound was fatal, but you're trying to tell me that the rest of these stab wounds didn't make him bleed out faster? Didn't contribute to his death at all? I'm confused. Call me nuts, call me crazy, call me obsessed with the idea, whatever you want, but I'm telling you the God's honest truth when I say that something's not right here. Why is this so difficult to literally just sit down and speak and say, now, oh, this is funny. The neck wound that ended Junior's life had no chance of survival, according to the medical examiner. He got up and fought for his life with the rest of the strength he had. Okay, number one, didn't the medical examiner just say that if pressure was applied correctly and help was available quicker, that he would have lived? So come on, people. Which is it? Can somebody tell me what is going on? One person saying the medical examiner said this, then the medical examiner saying something else, then somebody saying this, then the medical examiner saying something else. Guys, which is it? Help me out here. Can we get down to the truth about this case. Why is shit still fucking being hidden? Why? A year we've been sitting here. And for a year, shit has been being pushed to the side and hidden from us, the public, but yet they're trying to make it like they're giving us every last bit of information possible, when they're not. But like I said, this is the media, people. We should not expect to get the truth, and we should not expect every little detail, because had we known every little detail, some of us may have a different opinion. That's all I'm saying. Some of us might feel a different way. I'm not saying in a negative way. I'm not saying in a positive way. But we might feel and we might understand things a little bit better than we are at this point in time. Now, I'm going to leave my commentary here because I've been talking for a while now. I wanted to discuss that because it's been a few days and I've been busy out of state, and I didn't really have a chance to sit down and get my thoughts together. And you know what? I don't think my thoughts are ever going to be 100% together where this case is concerned, because there's so much that just doesn't add up, and I don't know, guys. Like, I just want the truth. I want justice for this kid, and I want the truth, no matter what it is. I don't care what the truth is. It's not going to change my outlook. It's not going to make his death okay. It's not going to change anything as far as that's concerned. But I really think, as people, and as we've been following this case, and how wrapped up we are in this case, and have been, that we really seriously deserve, okay, the complete and honest truth about the findings and everything. Being that there's a gag order, people who are in the courtroom cannot speak about the case, cannot tell other people about what's being said. So we're just sitting around waiting for people like Mary Murphy and other media to tell us, and they're not telling us everything we need to know. I'm sorry. They're not. And that's bothering me. We really seriously need to know. We've been engulfed in this case. It has changed everyone's life, everyone who's seen it, everyone who's heard about it. It has changed our lives forever. And it's time that we get the information, the straight up information. And I'm talking about even his family needs that. I don't even think they're getting, okay, the full gist of this situation, because there's just too much complications, there's too much going on, okay? There's so many things going on that we don't know about in this case, and about just the fact in general about before this incident. There were things going on. Junior seen things. Junior was present during certain things. There is a lot of background story. Okay? And the whole mistaken identity, complete fucking and utter bullshit. Okay? Sex tape, complete and fucking utter bullshit. I don't know, guys. Help me out here. I'll keep continuing to bring you any information I get my hands on. And whatever I feel like I need to speak on, I will. I've been waiting, like I said, for this medical report for a year. And I am totally disappointed because it told me absolutely nothing that I didn't already know. And the fact that it's being twisted and turned, and one person saying the medical examiner said this, then the medical examiner themselves is saying something else. What the fuck? Like, what really is going to hell on? Okay? That's all I want to know. What really happened? Why did this happen? What is the real reason behind this? That's it. I'm leaving it at that. What is the real reason behind this? I'm going to leave you with that question, and I hope one day that we will get an answer to it. Okay? Thank you guys so much. Everybody who supports my channel. I know that I am not the most, I'm not the most perfect YouTuber. I am not, the best speaker. I am not the most professional. But I do put my heart and my soul and my truth and my knowledge and everything that I truly feel into my videos, okay? I would never share something unless I 100%, okay, agreed with it. I only share these things with you guys because I know that there are other people out there that feel and see the same things that I have. And there has to be an outlet for us as well. So thank you for sticking with me, and I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all your feedback. And I will see you guys in my next video. Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. I actually have not even had a chance to sit down and do a video for you guys. With all the stuff and all the information that came out last week, I just wanted to give you my opinion on that information. I'm sure some of you care, some of you don't care for my opinion, but I am going to give it to you anyway, because this is my channel and that is what I do. So let's begin with the fact that Junior's mother has to now watch the remainder of the trial outside of the courtroom because of her outbursts. Now, any